Maurice, how are you, and how does it feel to be out in the world again, meeting your international colleagues once again?
Holly, I am doing well, quite well, thank you. It's been a while. The last 18 months plus have really been a challenge, and to truly have the opportunity to get out and travel again, to be able to engage with my peers globally on this landscape, it's refreshing. It's good to have the opportunity to be able to re-engage and just share experiences.
And the US has finally opened its borders again to vaccinated foreigners after 20 months. How is that going for MIA? Have you seen a huge surge in traffic?
It's been unprecedented, to say the least. November 8th came with much fanfare. We are averaging roughly, I think that yesterday, and I even look at stats, there's an excess of almost 25,000 international passengers. So as international travel, whether the borders are open, I think as traffic, the resumption of traffic picks up, carriers are increasing their flights and their loads, we'll see those numbers start to increase as well. So that's been a true benefit to us. But what we've also seen, which has been fantastic as well, has been the increase in numbers and flights with our low-cost carriers. And to me, that has been totally unprecedented. So we've seen 4 new entrants of low-cost carriers. With that, a significant amount of numbers and increase in flights. We also looked at some statistics yesterday, and we had an excess of, I think, roughly 48,000 passengers, if not more. I have to go back and look at the numbers, and over 1,030 flights. And so those numbers that's pre-2019 numbers and beyond. So I'm seeing an increase in growth. And if that is a sign of things to come, I think I'm looking forward to a very positive 2022.
And how have your passengers changed? Have you seen any change in demographic or type of traveller or anything like that?
I haven't seen much in regards to the demographic. As markets open, people want to travel. But the numbers have always shown that roughly 60 to 80% of travelers or the traveling public are first-time travelers. Then we're seeing that number that is increasing systemically. How well educated are they in regards to traveling procedures, in regards to taking off your shoes, social distancing within an airport, wearing a mask in an airport? So we want to make sure that we get as much information out to the traveling public to ensure that and issue the reliance to them that their safety and their security is our top priority. And we welcome you back to our system of airports.
And what have you done to facilitate a safe, seamless and efficient journey through the airport?
Oh, great question. One of the things that we've done and we continue to do is continue to get the word out. Between all of our campaigns that we've done on social media, that we continue to do on social media, the advertising that we continue to use and promote throughout our airport, static signage as well as digital signage, just to re-emphasize the importance of social distancing and practicing safe practices, and also informing the traveling public what's available to them, where we have our existing sanitization stations and what we're doing to our restrooms and the cleanliness of our restrooms. Anything else that we can do to apply to that. And we're listening to what they're saying to us on social media. So if we're hearing comments about certain things, we're responsive to that. We look into that, and if it's something that we can implement right away, we're implementing those.
In terms of seamless travel, you've talked a lot about biometrics on our panels and stuff. How far have you rolled out biometrics so far?
Biometrics for us, and I think it's going to be key and a game changer for the industry. A lot of airports have begun that process. We've done several trials over, I think, the last year to 2 years, and it's been quite successful with a lot of our international carriers, BA, Air France, Virgin. And with that, we issued a tender, and that is out there. And so we're looking, hopefully, for next year, looking at beginning the deployment and moving with biometrics in the 2022 timeframe. But one of the things we want to take it beyond just basic international departures, leveraging biometrics. We want to examine the possibility of also using that within the domestic framework as well. We want to look at that seamless travel being totally seamless across the entire ecosystem and across the entire passenger journey, whether it's international or domestic.
And what has been the proudest achievement for you and your team that you've worked on during the pandemic?
Just having the ability to be able to ramp up and be responsive to the new norm. Being able to deploy resources critical and essential to have our employees to be able to work from home, ensure their safety, we're looking at examining systems to ensure transparency in our systems. So we were able to take our help desk, and we made that remote totally transparent and still delivering the same quality service, and no one else knew anything that was going on in the background. Being able to deliver on those services, being able to also work with some of our stakeholders and work on more collaborative efforts than we would have had the ability to do before. And we saw that during the pandemic, that when you're resource constrained, the ability to collaborate and deliver a new innovative value add raises the bar a little bit, and we had the opportunity to do so. So we're proud to be able to be in a position to be able to engage with our business partners and all of our stakeholders to talk about tech and looking at business initiatives and strategically moving towards them.
So the pandemic has truly revealed the importance of non-aviation revenues to airports. What have you done to try and drive revenue in that area?
Well, given the pandemic, and realize that we can't rest on our laurels in the way we conduct and how we do business. So we have to look now towards more creative and innovative ways of how do we leverage our landscape. So one of the things that also popped up the other day, and I was talking to my colleagues, is given the fact that we were dealing with the pandemic and it's not 100% gone, we may have to run a series of just what-if scenarios and more tests in the event the next wave came through. How do we ramp up and be able to conduct and do business? So how do we leverage our resources? What can we do with our car parks? Can we leverage that with the Amazons of the world and do fulfillment centers? I don't know. Can we find other ways to generate ancillary revenue? Don't know. How do we work with our carriers to looking at business continuity and just normalizing the market as best as we can as we get through this? Because if it's happened once, the potential opportunity is there that it could happen again. And how severe could it be? And what would that impaction point be? So we're definitely looking at all scenarios at this point in time.
And what other initiatives have you come up with to actually future-proof the business? Because like you said, you might have to face another pandemic.
Yeah, definitely. We're still leveraging some thermal sensors and just monitoring the footprint of staff in certain locations, just to be able to gather and harness data of who's coming and going throughout our airports in regards to employees, so we can just have data to benchmark. We're just looking at additional resources just to examine our standard business practices as they are today and see where we can create some efficiencies with that. And as a matter of fact, one of the biggest things that I've done in initiatives, I've created a new center of excellence, and I've grabbed our stakeholders and asked them to get together so we could form this collaborative unit and look at technology, look at innovation, but let's look at business processes and what we could do to just enhance the business and enhance that posture in the event that we were faced with a situation like this again. And we kicked that off several months ago, and we're creating a profile around that. So I'm looking forward to probably getting back with you in the near future and see how that's going.
We touched briefly on biometrics, but where is Miami on its digital transformation journey?
We're well on our way. I don't expect us to be 100% in our journey, because the transformational process does take time. It requires a full engagement of our stakeholder community. We have executive buy-in, which starts from the top, and that is there. So we've established ourselves well. It is now just looking at our business processes, looking at our systems, and looking at how well do we work to interject innovation and transforming the way we do business today. And we realize we have a lot of vertical markets that we need to see where we can bridge the gap in those vertical areas, leverage those silos, build that framework and foundation, and then move forward with just implementing just better, newer strategic initiatives.
Is MIA still in the process of cost cutting, or have you started investing again?
We have been managing our resources quite well. Yes, we did receive federal funding in regards to CARES Act funding to keep the lights on in some areas. We did not have to lay off any staff, and working with our concessionaires and our business partners to ensure their viability as well, because if they're successful, we're successful. And that's been a key, strong strategic component of our management and our elected officials to ensure that the economy of Miami is strong, is resilient, and is sturdy enough to get through this and move us forward. So a lot of our business initiatives we're moving forward on. We're moving forward with our capital program, so we have not stopped any projects at this point in time. We've managed them, we've mitigated some some projects that we could either, let's say, suppress for a period of time, but we're moving forward with most of our construction as well as our business initiatives.
So building on that, then, what are the three most exciting developments happening at MIA?
Three most that we're going to be looking at is I'm looking forward to getting biometrics done and getting that going. Given the fact that our numbers are increasing, it's how well do we manage that safety and that level of processes within there. So we're going to be looking at virtual queuing pretty soon as well, just to ease the passenger fares and then add to the business acumen of that safety measure. And as a matter of fact, we're looking more to the video and video analytics lately. We want to get an idea what our footprint looks like and see where we can leverage that and bring some additional value into the airport space for our concessionaires, for our safety and security and law enforcement units. But at the same time, just looking at where we can leverage that technology throughout the entire ecosystem from what we're looking at today. Because we've seen different strategic initiatives out there that's leveraging more AI and video and analytics, and we're starting to just venture more strong into that venue.
So what technology trends are you predicting for the coming years? Which ones will be most disruptive, and is MIA going to be involved in these?
Oh, we're going to do it all. Guess what? We pride ourselves in being disruptors. We want to be the leaders. We want to have a presence in the marketplace. So, but from us, we continue to have discussions with a lot of startups out there in the industry and just seeing what new technology is out there. And we want to have the ability to look at that, to do proof of concepts with that. So for us, as we look at our capital program, as we're looking at building out where we are, I think there's a trend moving forward in regards to self-bag drop, looking at some of that technology, integrating that with biometrics. We've had some discussions with law enforcement, Customs and Border Protection, TSA, of how we can actually work with them and looking at maybe pilot initiatives of what we could do in that seamless journey, that end-to-end process of that passenger journey. Because there's always a niche in there, so we can look at that, maybe leveraging some of the TVS data from CBP and working on some pilot projects, tying that and talking to TSA and Homeland Security. What can we do with you as well? But nothing is off the table for us right now, so I'm making a checklist and putting a framework together, and wherever we could find ways to create synergies and partnerships, that's what I'm looking for going into 2022, 2023. It's nothing is off the table, and Miami is going to continue to be a leader. We want to have a worldwide presence and just driving this business.
So if your department at MIA were to have a list of your New Year's resolutions, what would they be?
More sleep. New Year's resolutions. Our industry is resilient and we're back. How do we prepare to deal with the growth? And how well prepared are we? What is it that we need to do that? We need to look at some our resiliency and where we are and establish that. And ensure one thing that this pandemic taught us a lot, but one of the key things I've seen globally is that we're seeing a loss of good, strong intellectual talent. And that level of retention of people understanding this industry, not just grabbing talent to grab talent, grabbing effective, sourceful talent to be able to support this organization and support this enterprise going into the future is going to be key. I think we've learned that. So it's acquiring talent, being able to retain that talent, and it's systemic, and it's not just us. I think the industry is facing that. We've been having conversations over the last couple of months with my peers, and that's a continual challenge. So that's going to be one of our key focal points as well.
Is MIA currently recruiting at all?
I mean, I have openings that I need to fill, but I realized, and I looked at the numbers the other day, it's if a good portion of my staff, if they wanted to retire or leave the organization, could do so in the next 24 months. That's a significant brain drain if that were to happen. But I think industry-wide, I think everyone's faced with the same thing and just having a conversation. And there's more flexibility. People working from home, and business organizations are making new enhanced benefit offers as well. So we're actually competing not just amongst ourselves, but with other markets. So there lies the challenge.
Are you optimistic for the future once you're out there?
I'm quite optimistic. I think, given what we're looking at going almost into the end of 2021, I'm looking forward to a very strong and robust 2022. I think we'll get to our 46, if not maybe exceed our 46 million passengers. That's me being an eternal optimist, and I think way beyond our 46 million. So we're going to track that and see it. So I look forward when we have this conversation again and see what we look like. But I'm quite optimistic with that. I think thanks to our low-cost carriers and the international markets opening back again, I think it lends credence that there's a high level of expectation. That's what we're looking for.
That's my last question, so thank you very much.
Well, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.